teams remain in our major, and EG is now just one game away from making that just two. Let's talk about how they were able to do it in the first game, because when we saw that draft, we were a little bit surprised, to say the least. And also, it looked like Vici was very happy with everything they got, especially that last pick. Ember seemed like something they very much wanted. Grant, we'll start with you. I mean, AA was one of the things that we looked at. We were like, does this make sense here?
Yeah, and I mean, obviously you go watch a game, you see what happens in the game to see what were they thinking, and for us it was just straight up, they just wanted to counter the ABBA. We've seen it, obviously, as Sin talked about, the shield is very good for CAA, because it just, you absorb the damage, you don't actually take any. But if he ended up going Aghanims on Yang, which we've seen him do time and time again, completely nullify it. I don't even know if AA was that big of a deal in this game. He actually missed quite a few ultis. But, man, I think we talked about Ramses. I know Fogged especially. He played out of his mind.
Dude, Ramses somehow just is looking like this super top-tier offlaner after he's just getting used to the role.
After like a month, yeah.
Like in like a few months or whatever it's been. It's pretty crazy how much he's been able to do. And he always seems to be finding the right targets. In that game, I think he got the right Doom target every single time. He was getting them before the Tempest doubles, or he was getting right on top of the Ember every single time. And Crit too, I think that's the other one I really want to highlight, because he just made Clockwork look like a pretty damn good hero.
Yeah, it's like only him and Ice 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 really have played it at all. And man, you saw that the shades of liquid Bulbo with that hook shot onto the Ember bottom.
I feel like, all in all, though, these are some pretty good signs for EG. When we were initially going into this one, we said, you need to make sure Abed doesn't have a good game. But now we're seeing pretty much everyone on this lineup popping off, Sin.
I mean, there are multiple things in this game that were really interesting to me in that regard, because for the first time this tournament, I think Abed was playing Naga, and they put Arteezy on the OD, which I don't think any of us expected them to put the heroes on.
Not this game, right? I've brought up other games, but this one I'm like, oh, it's Arteezy Naga. Like,
But so that was surprising. The AA pick was surprising. So we got some of the stuff we wanted to see from EG, right? There were surprises. There were things we weren't expecting. 4-position Clockwork.
Yep.
They saw some openings in the draft and they took them. I'm with Grant here. I don't feel like Ice Blast was a key here. But one thing AA does offer is pretty solid laning. It has a good pairing with the Clockwork. They had multiple kills together with the Cogs into Cold Feet plus Ice Blast. So there's some synergy there that they really took advantage of.
Yeah, Fogged. I mean, very early on when we saw who everybody was actually playing and we saw some of those switches, you pretty much were like, wait, dude, did they just lose? Like, you were very surprised by what you saw. When in the game did it change for you, though?
No, it was pretty quick that I just understood why they would do it, right? I think it was just because Abed wants to lane versus Arc Ward in mid. So they're like, all right, we want this to be a mid Naga, even though he's still like the carry-esque hero, and then we want to have the OD away from that Arc Warden, pretty much. So that's what it makes sense why Arteezy is playing it. And Arteezy has been spamming it, as we know, in pubs for a very long time, for the last like few months especially. But yeah, it all started to like kind of fall into place. They looked hot, and I think Vici, you said we saw them bleed yesterday. I saw them bleed a lot today. They looked like they were making quite a few mistakes, which was a bit uncharacteristic for them. I heard nothing.
Dude, the beginning, by the way, that 2v2 middle with the 1 and 2 heroes, they're just dancing. And is that like where EG, because it looked like the Arc Warden finally, or the Ember gave up and went top. Like, was that a big deal early? It seemed like Vici gave up earlier on that dance.
Yeah, I wonder if they did it because they felt like it's going to hurt them too much to have the Arc Warden swap around all the time. He is the hero that scales the most with getting that level 6 early on, and it did end up hurting them, even the amount of time it took. He got the 6 the latest, I think, out of all of the cores in the game, so he was very slowed down.
After DY, I think. DY was level 6 at like 6.5 minutes in. DY was, and we're just like, what?
Yeah, it was just a Lich sitting behind the tier 1 tower bottom, level 6, and it was super early in the game. We're like, wait, what? DY, all right, well.
This game was really enjoyable for me as well because of some, like, kind of a blast from the past almost. If you remember Arteezy's first big LAN with Speed Gaming, he won that series as OD, actually playing mid as a stand-in for Speed Gaming. And Ramses, he started out being an offlaner, actually. So while we do say, yeah, he transitioned from carry to offlane, it's really kind of back to the roots kind of thing with this offlane, and it's working out great for him. So it's all coming full circle with this lineup right now.
I thought there was also some pretty cool itemization. I saw you talked about how if we looked at Vici's draft, there's going to be a lot of just straight magic damage. Their physical damage could be lacking. I actually saw not only did they build a pipe on the Doom, but they also had a pipe on Clockwork. They doubled down on their pipes and actually to block out a lot of that magic damage. So these Maelstroms, Ember Maelstrom, the Arc Warden Maelstrom, they were actually counteracting the fights, and I saw Vici had massive damage issues throughout pretty much the entirety of the game because of that.
Ember had to buy BKB and Lincoln. And I think this is the kind of game on Ember where you might need to think outside the box. You already have an Arc Warden going Maelstrom. You can't really both do it, so maybe you go like Deso or the classic Deso Battle Fury against Naga.
Bring it back,
maybe some sort of mix physical in there. Absolutely, that was. I feel like the name of the game was damage issues for them. Like sometimes they even survived the Doom on Arc Warden for like 15 seconds and still didn't kill anybody.
Yeah,
that's a red flag.
I mean, all in all, it just seems like it's all clicking for EG too, right? I think we'll take a deeper dive on Vici in a second, but it just does all seem to be going in their favor. It seems like maybe they're tired of getting third place. I mean, you look at the fact that their draft too, it felt very dynamic when some of the biggest critiques were just that. On the side of Vici though, how much do you feel comes up to them coming up a little bit short as to what we expected for them, Sin? Do you feel like there are some things that they just weren't living up to?
I mean, they haven't really looked like the same team, including against the Secret Series. I don't know if it's mental, if they're breaking themselves a little bit.
Overthinking.
Overthinking, perhaps. It's like a little bit of the confidence seems to be gone with like going in, drafting lineups, we take the fight, we go on you. This game, they completely ignore the puck, which has been like one of their bread and butter heroes on Ori. They didn't play it because they lost the game with it against Secret. I'm a little bit concerned that they're, letting one loss get to them a bit too much and getting too crazy, maybe.
Yeah, they had some like limited amounts of team fight in this game, especially too. I felt so I felt like they were actually trying to force some engagements that were really weird. Like PYW had a pretty solid, I would say, like first 15 minutes.
Agreed.
He was killing it. He got the blink dagger, but then afterwards, when he got the blink, it really just seemed like he was jumping in, and a lot of times I saw him jump in, and it would be like, oh god, they just popped BKB, and his team just got forced to jump with him, and he got his team wiped a few of the times. So a lot of weird mistakes coming up from Vici.
I'm curious because like we saw that in the Seeger game, right? Like the Storm didn't have a late orc in that game, but he still didn't get much done. It felt like they just aren't team fighting or looking for team fights when maybe they should be in both these series.
Yeah, and that is the opposite of what we were hearing from other squads just a few days ago. So it almost seems like, Sin said it countless times, that we see Vici bleed, and it seems like since we've seen that, it almost looks like they're bleeding out. And on top of that, that allows EG to start to pick things up. And the question is, if they're going to be able to take this series, come in hot, and then potentially be able to take down Secret. It seemed like a very difficult task. I think by the end of the day, though, yesterday, we had shifted a little bit, especially after what we saw at the end of the day, and saying EG might be able to take down Vici, when at the beginning of the tournament, I don't think we were as much thinking that that was really a possibility.
Honestly, I still thought Vici was heavily favored going into this, and we needed to see the first game, right? We need to see EG had to make the adjustments. Vici just beat him 2-0 very convincingly. EG had to make the adjustments. They did. Now it's time for RTK to do it.
Well, I think it still comes back to what Sin said, though, right? I think coming into the series, Vici was still heavily favored, but there was a shot. I think earlier in the tournament, Vici and Secret looked immortal. They looked absolutely impossible to take down, and it very much feels like in the final hour that's shifting. I think one of the first things I said, too, when we got here this morning was it felt almost like what we saw in some of the early groups. Actually, that might have even been the minor, but it felt like we had a 1, 2, and 3, which doesn't really happen that often when you get to the final day. Like it seemed like it was like, okay, they're all just going to show up, and we know what's going to happen. And I don't feel that way anymore, Fogged.
No, definitely not. I mean, EG definitely has been showing a lot of improvement in this tournament. I feel like Vici, I don't know, they're really hit or miss for me right now. While usually I look at Vici as like team stability. This team has always just been about like methodical Dota, like this is how we're going to play, blah, blah, blah. These last few games, they're really just kind of all over the place with how their playstyle is, and maybe EG's just throwing them off a lot.
And the question is, will they be able to get it back now, or are they going to be eliminated? But we were talking a lot about some of the players that we thought were the key factors in this one. We want to hear who you think was the key factor in the success for EG. Who do you think the MVP is? You can vote all day in the chat using the hashtag and the player's name. Gentlemen, can we get the first drum roll of the morning and figure out who our MVP, decided by Twitch chat, is?
Ramses or Crit? Which one?
Ramses or Crit. They might give it to Abed or Arteezy. It's Crit? Okay.
Yeah, Crit.
Okay with that.
Me, baby, one more time. How do you feel about this MVP?
I think it's fine. I think Crit played super well. He was extremely aggressive. He was really confident in his plays. I liked his itemization as well.
Confidence.
Yeah, and confidence is one of the really important things that I like to point out, because I did feel like I saw Vici with a little bit of lack of confidence in some of their moves when, like you said, usually they're super confident in everything they want to do. Crit just went in a lot of the times.
No surprise, chat, right? Yet again, everybody in chat, give yourself a clap, a round of applause, and when you're done, patting yourself on the back, we're going to return with the next game of the series.
sightings all around the city. According to experts, the origin of these shadows is
secret weights in the grand final, but we got to figure out who's going to play him, Vici or EG. EG was able to take the first game. We're already in the draft. We're going to jump right in and take a peek. Last time, I think there were plenty of surprises. The question is, are we going to see them yet again? And we're taking our first look right now at these early bans. Anything jumping off the page to you, Fogg?
I mean, they banned OD.
And where's the IO ban?
Yeah, where's
not
Io
here
banned?
yet. And EG, I think you're right. You have to.
Oof. And then Wyvern's also up too, which is another big hero that has been coming up inside of the pool.
We did see the Io
games.
gyro lose, like Sin brought up earlier, but are you willing to risk it here?
When I see EG take this amount of time, like usually this would be a no-brain ban. I was like, they're not going to ban it. They're planning something. OD is banned out. They don't want to give away the Omni. It's their OD or their Omni counter is this OD that's banned. So they're going to give away the IO, just dare Vici to take it, and then go AA +1.
Or Wyvern. Or Wyvern +1.
Or Wyvern
That's the other one that we've seen.
One or the other.
Yeah.
And Vici, for the first time this tournament, it seems like they're like discussing, should we pick IO? You know, that's also a sign of a team that's a little bit. You know, that's something called. Okay, they're like, you know what?
I feel like you have to.
We can't discuss
You can't
this.
can't give Io gyro on the other side. It's tough.
Stick to the script.
So yeah, Wyvern or AA. It's one of the two, whichever they want.
100%.
And then there's Tree available too, if they do want to go down that angle, which is also super good.
Yep, there you go. The Wyvern against the IO.
Lately, I actually think I've been liking the Wyvern. I mean, like from what I saw, like Secret was doing it a bunch, so it just seemed to fit. And okay.
Wow.
Double down on team fight.
Secret picked both of these heroes yesterday against IO as well, in different order, but Magnus was the third pick of that draft.
Yeah.
Mag is one of the cores that deals pretty well with IO just because of his ability to catch IO and the core in RP, because they have
to be together.
Yeah, they have to be together. Like, you can play around it as IO if you're like super clutch all the time, but if you slip up for just a second, you get RP'd with your carry and the fight is a mess.
Yeah, and I think
you can actually combo these heroes properly, because you know you can curse, a lot of damage is going to come out, then you can just walk up and RP. Even if you overlap a little bit, who cares? Like, you're catching two of the cores in a double BKB piercing disable, which that's another thing is both these heroes do provide you, which is super strong. I love this CG opener.
Yeah, and I think the Magnus, I believe it's going to be Arteezy playing, but Ramses has played it a little bit as well. And they're the only one in the offlane who has really.
Vici taking time again. Should we pick Gyro this time?
You do, right?
Yeah. It's
have we seen an IO without a gyro at this tournament? I know we've seen it before, but at this tournament, I don't think
we saw
we
IOOD, I think.
I believe you're right.
Stage.
There was one game. I don't know, that gyro, just IO gyro, you always have your win condition, which is nice.
It also works, like, Wyvern sure is good versus it, but at the same time, gyro, he does a lot of damage to it. Wow,
they bump up Winter Wyvern and Magnus, I guess it was definitely getting banned that time.
It's always fascinating to see how teams react to losing. Like, for some teams, it's like, you know, whatever, we messed up, we'll play again, we'll play better. And others can lose faith. Like, even the time they took to pick IO, and this time the time they're discussing should we pick Gyro or not. Yeah. It's a team that you can say good things for both things. Like, one is, okay, you adapt. Like, you lost, you think about it, you get better. The other one is, okay, is this like a sign of weakness? Are we starting to lose faith in our draft just because you had a bad game? Like, it happens. I think their game against Secret, their draft wasn't bad. I think they just didn't play a very good game against Secret in that second game.
It's so funny because the exact thing during that series, I was talking to No-Tail about it, and he was just like, no, at this point, you're basically going for the mind game, because if you're able to win with it here or beat it here, when you get into the next game, you know that you already beat that pick. And it seems like we're kind of in a situation now where Vici is playing like a team that has taken a beating. So
yeah. But they are putting confidence. The one thing is they're putting confidence in PYW is what I see when they pick that. Because they lost with Io Rubik versus Magnus Wyvern yesterday. Right. So they're doubling down. They're like, you know what? It wasn't the heroes that actually lost it for us. Even though we have seen Io Rubik, they can be a little weak, whatever, in the laning phase and stuff like that. It still is what you want to play. So at least they're confident to at least pick that for PYW.
And I feel like if you're going to put that burden on someone's shoulder, it's going to be PYW with how much he's popped off throughout this entirety of the tournament. I know that Ori was one of the other players that you guys said you really need to see have a good game for Vici to potentially take it. As we keep on moving in the draft, we're going to see. Do you think that on the side of Vici too, there's still that focus after what we saw in the last game to try to shut down Abed at all costs? Because I know Fogd and Cinderin were both saying that was something they wanted to put a lot of attention on. Grant, do you think that that's still going to somewhat be the story here?
I think you definitely just don't let him get this amazing, like, last pick here for Abed, right? We even saw in the crowd the Abed Meepo. It legit has to be in the back of your head every single time when you're playing against EG, and I agree with that. I also, the Night Stalker ban, right? I think Vici's the only team who's even playing it. They played in the one role on Eurus. They just get rid of it. Obviously versus Winter Wyvern, right? You just got to find him.
It's a good hero with IO, I think. Night Stalker, you get super fast on the IO. You can play them together.
It is a good replacement for Gyro, yeah.
I think the phase where IO gave the free Axe, people were also playing IO Night Stalker, and then as soon as you get that free Axe, it just gets crazy. I believe there was a short amount of time with an overlap with that Night Stalker Aghanims at one point. But yeah, they take it out, no need to worry about it. AA ban, not surprising, it's against the IO. And then they banned the Faceless Void. Again, a little bit of a mark from Secret Series yesterday where they had Void AA, or Void Wyvern and Mag. And EG are going to respond with a Slark ban. I feel like this is, one of the other good carries you could have picked with IO. And they're going to grab the Timber Saw.
These supports,
they do nothing to this guy. Literally nothing. Oh, man.
Rubik has good spells. That's one thing. Rubik has very good spells to steal throughout the majority of the game. All of Timber's spells are pretty nice, too.
You got to get some team fight on Vici Gaming right now. You need team fight.
Team fight, and they need damage. A lot of it as well.
Luckily, we have all 3 cores, so yeah.
Yes.
Yesterday, one of the things Vici did against Secret, against this massive AoE teamfight lineup that had somewhat weak lanes, is that they grabbed the Timber. And now it's just been taken away from them. So Vici were maybe planning on maybe getting this second phase, and EG has just one-upped them here. Now you need a solution. You can't really pick Slark because he's banned, so you absolutely can't pick Slark.
Definitely.
And OD's banned as well.
OD's banned. Gyro, do you trust in it enough? Do you have the damage? RTK looks a little bit concerned right
I feel like
now.
you have to make the Gyro, but into a Winter Wyvern Magnus Timber is just difficult.
I think they're in trouble. I'm trying to think about what carries are even left. You could play IO Ursa and just go hard. And when Ursa gets an Aghanims, he's pretty safe against Mag. You get RP'd, you can always ulti it off. You can't ulti off Winter's Curse, but you can mitigate a lot of damage.
They'll just stick with it.
You know what?
It works. It's just good versus Wyvern. It's magic damage versus Timber Saw, right? Like, it just fits, and it's IO Gyro. But we have seen it fall.
You have to feel like when you see these picks come out like this one at a time, that EG know in advance.
Yeah.
Like there's no surprises here, like 0. Whereas Vici Gaming, they're definitely, getting surprised.
Oh wow, we forgot about that here. Yeah, that's still in the pool. Holy smokes!
Oh god, and speaking of not having enough damage to deal with Timber Saw, throw Living Armor on top.
And that's what they did yesterday. Yeah, he was legitimately unkillable.
Vici have 0 tower damage. I honestly think what you do as Vici now is you grab Leshrac. I think you have to go in a direction where you can take towers, you have magic damage against the Timber Saw, you have a hero that IO can play around that's not just this Gyro, because I don't think IO Gyro solves this game. I think you need a different core to do the job.
What about, man, they just play this, but the Storm also, there's limited disables besides ultimates on EG, but I just saw him.
They played it yesterday.
He died to the Magnus yesterday, and he got first blooded by that Magnus, and he had a tough matchup, but it does look like it could be pretty solid for Vici right now if they do want to go for that.
Oh, nice.
Oh.
That's a change of pace.
Absolutely.
I was actually, yesterday when Vici played against Secret in that matchup, I was looking for them to maybe pick Batrider just because how good it is against a side laner like Timber. He's also good against Treant. Batrider is flat out good against all 4 heroes in EG's lineup. They can't pick Slark, he's banned by themselves.
And it like denies a lot of Abed heroes. You're not picking TA into that, you're not picking Meepo into that, because obviously Batrider might be off lane or middle, but you can't pick some of these hero Abed likes because of that.
I really thought that we'd be seeing this hero more, especially because of how much like Wyvern's been coming up in Timbers. I've been suggesting it, I think, like a lot of the panel segments, like the classic 2 days, I've just been like,
and it's only Alliance,
and then they pick an Aura carrier instead of the Batrider. But yeah, it's good. It's amazing versus Wyvern, great versus Timber. This is a good pick. It works well with IO. I like it.
Batrider can easily be an Aura carrier if it's a good Batrider.
That's true.
Like
We've seen the Vlad's Batrider.
The old times of having to go Travels, Blink, Force Staff, it's not a requirement at all. Sometimes a pipe first Batrider is great. If you have enough, if you get any of the neutral items that give you mana, you're set. Faded Brooch, for example, Clumsy Net for the mana regen, whatever it is, you're good to go a greedier route with your items. And I think in this game, I don't know what auras you really want to buy into this team. There's no clear solution. There's tons of pure damage from Timber. You're not going to block any of that.
So
Crimson Guard isn't good. None of them are really that good.
Not really that good, but he's good. He's good.
He's
good damage.
Build.
Yeah, he's really good damage to provide with this team, though. Okay.
I'm happy to see this from Vici because it's straying a little bit from the plan, but in a good way. Like,
agreed.
You're getting something new where you identify there's an opening here, and I'm a big Yang fan. I think he's awesome to watch. I'm hoping he's playing the Batrider in this game. It looks very likely that IO and Rubik should be supports. it's the kind of hero, they've kind of put Yang on these defensive heroes a lot, but I really like when he plays aggressive too.
I love his
don't think he has to play
Centaurs,
safe. Centaur's awesome, his Bat Rider is great. He's played Sand King in the past and looked great on that too. So this is for me, this is a big change up from Vici because they're giving Yang initiative in the game. Like now you get to lead the charge and take some fights on your terms. And
good versus the tree. Like actually, if you even just have a gem, any sort of dust, the tree's dead. You have the vision to find the Winter Wyvern in the back. They go Viper. So they are doing definitely kind of a death ball-y setup here where they need to hit this kind of timing at the 25-30 minute. They do scale well as well, but I feel that's definitely what they're looking at.
This is a lot of magic damage coming in. The Viper Q plus like a Nether Toxin down with your Bat Rider, Sticky Napalm, and Gyro Cup. This is a ton of magic damage. We're definitely going to see a pipe picked up early on EG.
Probably Timber,
Yeah, on the Timber.
Unless Timber goes middle, who knows?
How do you lane as EG? Who can you can't put any of your current heroes against Viper and be happy about it. I think both Magnus and Timber. Magnus is maybe okay, but I don't think you want this matchup. So if you do pick something else to lane against the Viper, you're forcing Magnus into a safe lane against Bat. That's not good. And Timber is not good against him either. So you need to find this just wonderful pick that kind of solves all your problems.
Whoa!
That might be it.
Whoa, there's the cheese.
Well, that's what lane versus Viper.
All right.
But you do have the Magnus versus the Bat Rider, though. But that is a pretty strong Brood pick, if I say so myself.
It kind of like weird. They don't really have a tie. The Brood kind of. I don't actually like it that much. I don't know. I like Vici's draft a lot more. I think they just can group up behind this Viper, and it's going to be pretty damn easy for him. I don't know.
This game's about
you like the Brood?
If Brood does things this game, it's an insane pick, but Brood is one of those heroes where 1 or 2 deaths, the game can very quickly lose control. It's just, he's playing against largely slows. Brood is great against that.
That's
run away.
Well.
All right, well, we're definitely going to be looking at the Brood. Let's see if this Brood has legs when we return.
This is the 5th series that Evil Geniuses and Vici Gaming have played against each other this series with a total game score of 7-3 to the favor of Vici Gaming before today. But right now, Evil Geniuses are leading 1 game up in this best of 3, and they have just last picked a Brood Mother against Vici Gaming, Lizard.
They just last picked a Brood. Right there.
It's pretty gross, yeah.
It's pretty gross. Yesterday, we did see a Brood Mother played versus Wisp and Gyro.
Yeah.
And the Brood Mother did lose. So maybe, in that case, Vici Gaming still have a shot. We also saw a Magnus Winter Wyvern versus Wisp and Gyro on the other hand. And Winter Wyvern and the Magnus did really well versus this combo. We have seen a couple of crit games on this Winter Wyvern, and he has been amazing. One of the things that panel, or we don't usually mention, is that Orchid Rush. Not only for the silence early on, but later on for the Blood Turn, because all of his allies are critting as well. So you can look the same way crit had a lot of impact in that last game. I think we can expect a lot from him in this one too.
Particularly effective against that Gyro-Wisp combination, right?
Exactly.
Like, you get a winner's curse. If the Gyro doesn't solo kill that poor ball, then with an Orchid on him, he's gonna pop to
Poor
the extra
ball?
bit of Orchid.
You sympathize with
I
this?
sympathize with a little bit when it's the, it's the portal cube,
All right,
makes
all
that
right.
sad little noise.
A little bit, but if it gets an essence ring, I have no mercy.
All right, I'll agree with that. If they get an Essence Ring on the side of Vici Gaming, then we will not sympathize with them one bit. But a skewer backwards onto Ori to start things off. An early first blood attempt by EG, and it's successful. Fly claims the kill.
Okay, so they're trying to set up the lanes a little bit differently. They're trying to put the Viper top because he can't lane versus Broodmother, but Viper is really good on 1 versus 1. If you put him in a tri-lane versus a Treant and Winter Wyvern, they will destroy you.
Yeah, I can't imagine that's going to be real good, especially, you know, like 3-4 minutes from now when the Viper's looking at like level 3, really ineffective against 3 heroes. That's going to be a bit hard for Vici Gaming. We'll see how they solve that. They do have a 1v1 at the bottom lane, the Bat Rider versus the Timbersaw, one of the few heroes that can successfully beat a Timber.
I think that's a much better lane for them. I think the Bat Rider should do fine. Just has to be careful not to fly over Ramses when he's really close to the trees, so that Whirling, so that first spell doesn't damage him way too much.
Yeah. Look how many mangoes Abed brought to lane, man. He is ready to just spam out the spawns, Spiderlings, build up an army, and farm up some neutrals, because he won't be able to keep them in lane very often against that flat cannon. Fly is now abandoning that tri-lane we're looking at earlier, and is going to try and lend a helping hand here to Arteezy's Magnus.
They're switching everything up. They're putting the Timbersaw on top, and I think you need to give a good lane to Timbersaw, to Ramses. We saw what he can do with heroes that get a lot early on. He just...
Is that why when Viper died, I saw him running up the lane? So are they going to try and... Are they just going to TP swap as well?
Not this again.
Yeah,
not this again. Can we just have normal lanes for once?
They had TP available for both their cores, but apparently they're okay with this. I mean, the Bat Rider should beat the Magnus as well, right?
Yeah, he should be fine on that lane too. Obviously you have Skewer, but it's not super effective versus Bat Rider early on. He'll still be able to catch you up if he gets a lot of sticky napalm charges.
Yeah. I like that all that EG really needs to do was just get Ramses to level 3, right? And then he can lane against a tri-lane a lot more effectively.
Exactly. 2 levels in reactive armor and you're completely fine.
Gonna try and catch Yang here, but he actually goes on the offensive with 3 sticky napalm stacks on to Fly, plus the help of PYW. Gets out of flames and the skewer away to the right-hand side. Yang, though, finishes him off with an auto attack, and it's now gonna be able to turn on to Arteezy as well. Building up with no skewer available for Arteezy. He's just gonna get run down. He does have 9 magic wand charges. I think that's part of the reason Vici Gaming give up on that chase.
Exactly. You see the sticks and you just give up on it, but you can see Ori on the top lane. Maybe we'll be forced to get Nether Toxin a little bit earlier versus this lane. But even once he does that, it's so difficult. Wisp just left him. He might die.
The stacks are gone on Ramses, so he feels like he can finish off Ori, and he does. Yang is now here with a Firefly, but a Timber Chain gets Ramses a small distance away, and Yang feels like he can't get either one of those kills.
I love the way Ramses also adapted to the game. He went for 2 points in Timber Chain, 2 points in reactive armor. Enables him to get away from the Bat Rider, enables him to get on top of anyone that's in the lane, and in that last engagement it was the Viper.
Yeah, something small like having a tree being able to provide you a slow as well, allowing you to kind of chase down some of these heroes.
They're trying all the different combinations. Now there's the gyrocopter on the mid lane. He was there before, and he's the only one that's so far been at the same lane for the complete game, right? He can farm versus the Broodmother right now. He has that flat cannon to work with. However, very soon he will be pressured super hard by the Broodmother.
Oh, PYW. That was a bit of a monster move. Kills both Crit and Arteezy's Courier on the way out to deliver regen.
He only gets 70 gold total, right? But it's still really good. You prevent them from having that passive GPM as well. And he can perhaps slow down this Broodmother around the mid lane. I don't know if they can take Abed down. He has a lot of spiders here.
Yeah, it's always very dangerous. I think you can fight into the flat cannon shots going out, trying to kill some of those spiders. It's a pretty healthy amount. Nice. Eurus, 68 and 10. What a god. Of course, most of those being spiders.
Yeah, he has 70 CS, minute 5, but most of those are 3 and 9 gold, so you aren't really getting a whole lot out of it. Still, you are slowing down the Broodmother. Maybe 3 shouldn't be rotating around that mid lane. When you play the Broodmother right now, just give her the space. Let her farm, let her get those first 2 items, and after that you can make these rotations.
Crit playing behind them right now with 2 levels of the Splinter Blast. Is setting up on Ori, but it is into a Wisp. It's going to be hard to bring Ori down, but they do manage to skewer to break that tether, and Ori is so slowed. He can only play into the corner of the map here and try and get some damage out. PYW, another Splinter Blast landing on him, slowing him as well. DY pulled back by the Shockwave, enough for Fly to be able to bonk him twice to get the double kill.
Easy double kill for Fly. His punches are really strong right now. The skewer from Arteezy was also really well done. You have to get the Viper away from the Wisp. Panel talked about these heroes that are able to play with Wisp. Viper isn't like the first hero that comes to your mind, but is a hero that's fairly tanky and he can bait you. If he baits you and the Wisp heals him, he gets those extra stacks.
You got to be careful using those flat cannon shots when you don't show the main host of the Spiders. Once it's down, Abed, as you can see, just can challenge him immediately and is going to continue to do so. Now the ultimate's on cooldown. The medallion, it just means Euro's going to take so much damage from these Spiders. He's going to be run down and finished off. A Fate Bolt going up, and now PYW is going to be in trouble as well.
Oh no.
He tries to go for the TP, but it's going to be a tough one. He does manage to make it out.
Yeah, they're just crumbling on this mid lane. They did put the Gyro because he does the best job versus the Broodmother. Out of all of their heroes, they got brooded. It's as simple as that. But even the Gyrocopter doesn't do great once those items are there. You could see he baited out the ulti from the Gyro, and then he caught him with a couple of extra webs. With that medallion, he can definitely take down Eurus. And you can't itemize. There's no item that can help you right now. We don't have the poor man's shields that we had before. We don't even have stout shields.
Vici Gaming, this problem is going to become more and more apparent, especially if they lose their Gyrocopter again due to another initiation. Crit starts it off with the slows. Eurus tries to fight back with his ultimate, but with the helping hand of Ramses cutting across, that was just too much for Vici Gaming.
Even though he did die twice, if you look at the net worth, he's still second. He's still above Brood by quite, like, what 300 gold? So yeah, he's still in a pretty good spot, considering Broodmother is also farming the jungle, farming the lane, and farming the Gyrocopter.
Gonna put Arteezy up at the top lane now as Ramses makes his way across the map.
I think one thing that Vici Gaming did do really well in this draft is address the Timber Saw. I think they have multiple ways of dealing with Ramses. Those games in which EG just dominated with Timber, the enemy team usually did not have anything specific against it. Here you might have the Vessel, you have the Batrider, you have the Nether Toxin too.
So you think your Ramsey's gonna have to play a little bit a different style compared to last time?
I think he'll still play the same style, but it won't be as easy. You can see one hero is able to zone him out. And later on with the Nether Toxin, if he doesn't have those stacks of reactive armor, he can be in danger too.
Yang farming up some of those neutrals. A Diffusal Blade soon for Abed, it looks like.
There are different...
RP. We've seen this a lot from these carry Magnuses, just willing to use the RP on a simple support as soon as possible, just for the extra bit of farm.
That's completely fine. Early on, you aren't really hoping for some grand RP on multiple heroes. I think it's perfectly fine to kill their Rubik that way.
Mango Tree placed out to give them a bit of high ground vision, maybe a little bit of warning about these ganks that have been trending towards the mid lane.
A really good spot to put that Mango Tree as well, as you have the Wisp Gyro. Usually they want to farm this area of the map, and it will give them the necessary vision so they don't get ganked. However, I don't feel like EG is really going to gank a lot this game. Look at them, they will just increasingly get stronger and stronger. That's the game plan. You have the Broodmother, you have the Timber Saw, Treant. You don't have these extra great pick-off heroes, specialists. But eventually you just become too big to deal with.
What Vici Gaming are going to have to do here especially is make sure they can keep this Treant Protector from pushing in this tower. We've seen EG stall out games really effectively with this Treant Protector.
And the Timber, right?
And
Put the Timber in front, the Treant is behind, healing either the Timber or the tower, whichever is being in problems. Arteezy, what's he going for? Bracer, probably into that Echo Saber, the normal standard build that gives you 3000 HP, minute 13, it's ridiculous. Magnus, I'm surprised we haven't seen more of him in the last couple of days, but he's still picked and banned quite a lot.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of the safe lane Magnus. This Treant Protector, though. There's so many heroes from Vici Gaming here, but they weren't able to commit to that tower push.
Yep, they just get repelled by the two big boys, Tree and the Timber. They're happy to go back and farm. I think they have to, because in the back of their head, they do understand that this Broodmother is getting a lot. And if you're trying to take down towers versus Treant, it most likely won't work, so it's much better to do this. Just go back, farm, get your own items. Don't try to pressure them too much. These two teams are playing a very similar game again strategically, just like in that first match. They match up very well, and that's why we did see Vici Gaming before win versus them, and now they're one game down.
Treant Protector just taking that outpost to make this bottom lane even more secure. You could see all the safe lane vision they like to place as well. Whenever they have a Treant Protector, being able to read these movements, set up for them.
Fly is really good at doing that. If he's playing some different style of a position 5, he sometimes goes and feeds just to give info or more.
Oh, that is a winner's curse on top of Lasso. Arteezy still has the RP as well as the Skewer. Is going to try and get away. The Flame Break actually bumps him a little bit, stalling up that Skewer. He tries to throw the RP out now, but he just knows he's certainly dead. Ramses, meanwhile, in the mid lane, is able to kill Ori, but Crit's going to be chased down here by Eurus as they cancel the relocate back.
Well, this was happening on the top lane. At the same time, the Broodmother and Ramses collapse on top of that Viper. They take him down and they take down the tier 1. So perhaps this is a little bit better for EG strategically, but getting those 2 kills on the top lane, the Magnus and the Winter Wyvern, was also really good for Vici Gaming.
You think that it's a little bit better for EG because, like, Broodmother, the impact he has when you take
obviously,
towers?
Broodmother and taking this control. When you take down the mid-tier 1 as a Broodmother team, you gain access to both sides of their jungle, and then you can make more aggressive movements. I don't think they're necessarily going to relocate, replace the Broodmother and make her go into the dire jungle right now.
Right.
They won't replace their strategy in that way, but soon enough, they will think about it, definitely. On the top lane as well, the reason why Magnus died there is because of the Rubik TPing. He couldn't RP the Batrider. If he RPs, then the RP is stolen, he still dies.
Arteezy is going to be able to take this safe lane tower himself. Vici Gaming are trying to do the same at bottom, but first they have to get this Treant Protector the hell out of the lane. Batrider, usually a pretty good hero for finding him, but couldn't catch up there.
They have the curse, but he's really
could be caught. The Timber Chain through. They do have the Chakra to be able to slow down Yang just enough. The Splinter Blast comes through, and Ramses claims a kill. Eurus and PYW are still in the area, but it feels like they just cannot fight.
He tried to go in with the Gyrocopter to stop them from killing the Bat with that rocket. He thought that Winter Wyvern is going to use that curse, but Ramses was completely fine alone. He's just waving at them. This is literally, he's mocking every single team he's playing against. And it's all strategical. The way he's positioning, I told you before, it's been so on point. We talked off the game as well about this.
Yeah, I think that's, it's funny hearing No-Tail in the green room watching the games yesterday. He's like, tip him. Like, why won't you use that if it's an option? Why won't you try and get that little bit of an edge? And Ramses really is the only one who really does it on EG. I guess Abed likes to spam the hero lines.
Yeah,
you know, it's a trap. But I feel like it's a lot of time it's for his own sake when he's having a rough game. Ramses, he got bounced backward by the Flame Break into the lasso. Great hit by Yang. Oh, the Winter's Curse. That's not enough to save Ramses, though. Eurus is able to get that kill, and now the missile actually shifts over onto the Winter Wyvern. They have to relocate onto the other side of the cliff, and so Crit is certainly going to be caught here. But right to the spiders. So Yang, he does manage to get that kill on Crit for sure, but poor PYW got eaten alive.
Yep, sadly for PYW, he was caught in the Brood's webs, and he just dies easily there. But they do take down the Timbersaw and the Wyvern. I think that's much more important for Vici Gaming. Stopping Ramses from mocking them the way he did before. They were like, "Come here, you little shit."
Yeah, I mean, talk about being a little shit. Fly. He's been so obnoxious in this bottom lane. He's going to try and go for a TP out, but the missile's going to be there. Good bounce by Yang into the missile just to make sure it does land before the TP completes. They've killed the Dream Protector. Let's take that damn tower.
And the Timbersaw is dead. So they broke them, but they need to continue doing this. You need to set the tempo of the game, and you need to not allow the Timbersaw and the Treant to gain that defensive posture again, because if that happens, you're going to find yourself just farming and being delayed once again. It doesn't necessarily have to mean that it's super bad for them. You do have the Wisp Gyro after all.
Yeah, they're both looking towards a heavy mid-game timing. We've got Abed, RTZ, and Eurus all building into BKBs at this point. We haven't actually checked in on Viper anytime lately. What's he
Dragonlance.
got? That's Dragonlance.
He's able to keep his distance with this a little bit, beefs him up a little bit too. Essence Ring. Essence Ring Wisp.
Yep, they got it. All right, well, no sympathy points to Vici Gaming if you lose here. You got the OP item on the Wisp. Essence Ring plus Mech, that's approximately 1 billion health for the Gyrocopter.
1 billion health and 1 billion range of the Rubik too. He got the Keen Optic and he built the Aether Lance. They got really good neutral items in the second match.
Yeah, they certainly did. The extra 45 damage for the IO. He's feeling himself on that, I guess. We have the talent where you attack every single time with the Growbow. That's a good one.
Growbow as well for Viper or the Gyrocopter. Yeah. It's pretty good on both of them. If they give it to Gyro, obviously, it's decent on both.
Yeah. Pipe complete for Ramses. That'll help deal with a lot of that magic damage.
He's going for some right-click damage mitigation as well, and yeah.
RTZ switched it up into the Blink Dagger rather than straight to the BKB he queued up. So it looks like he wants to try and catch Vici Gaming now. But Vici Gaming, they just had a spike that they think is pretty good themselves.
RTZ just understands his place right now in this team, in this game. He needs to be the one that gets this Blink Dagger and gets these initiations, and then the Brood Mother comes from sidelines with that BKB and deals the necessary damage that is.
I mean, they could pretty much, if he manages to do the right RP, catching the IO with the Gyrocopter, if Ramses is nearby, they're pretty much going to one-shot that IO.
As long as you don't let him use the Essence Ring and the Mech.
You're going to need a quick Whirling Death, Chakram, Timber Chain through, bursting down that IO, because if you don't do it during that RP timing, then the whole team fight can turn against you.
Abed could be in problems here. This is a really good rotation at the right time. You have the BKB on Gyro. Yang, all he has to do is lasso the Brood Mother, and you can take a really good fight. They aren't really willing. He's doing a really good thing here with the spiders. He sends them in. Basically, at this level, you understand what they're trying to do and what their timings are, and you're trying to play around it. He sends the spiderlings because he senses that they are smoked up.
Sends it around that area that they would be trying to wrap through with a smoke gank into that mid lane. They caught the Brood Mother there, they would wrap into mid, take that tower, and all of a sudden Vici Gaming would have a wealthy amount of map control.
I think Vici Gaming, they're playing a much better mid game than they did in that last match.
Feels a lot more controlled for sure. Still able to keep their farm going. They're going to spot Yang. Is going to be able to jump forward on a fly. RTC still looking for telekinesis up, and they're going to make sure to take that Blink Dagger off a cooldown, grab the free kill on the fly, and back up to their high ground. I like that a lot from Vici.
The way they did it as well, they did not allow Crit to move into the right position to counterplay that with a curse. Instead, they just move him away from the Gyrocopter, away from the teammates as well, as he's on a cliff. So, really well played by Yang. Still, though, it's Fly.
Yeah. I think TY is going to have a really hard game, but so far, I'm loving his positioning. He's maxing out that tether range most of the time whenever he thinks they're a little bit close. Relocate up to the top lane. They have actually caught Crit here. Crit waiting to turn around with the Winter's Curse. He has sticky napalm on him. It's going to be a little hard, so instead he just dies. Yang dropping a bit low.
You just praised EY, and did you see that reload? It was miles away from Crit.
Yeah.
Usually when you catch someone, you hold that thought, RTZ.
It's easy thinking about it.
They have a ward here. This shouldn't be a play.
But yeah, if he relocates on top of the Winter Wyvern,
Which
maybe
is what
they
you
get
usually
cursed.
do.
Yeah. Aghanim Scepter for Eurus is the next item with the Maelstrom build. Really great answer to the Broodmother. Later on, the Satanic is good answer to that RP initiation as well. PYW puts himself on the high ground there with the Arctic Burn and does manage to slow down the Dream Protector enough to be able to grab him, pulls him over to Ori, and Ori will help him get the kill.
Yeah, that Arctic Burn stolen earlier really helps him there, makes him able to catch on, to fly over the cliffs. They didn't have reload, but Ori was quick enough to respond to it.
So in your opinion, which team should be trying to make the moves right now? Because it feels like Vici Gaming have been okay with farming.
But they've been the ones making moves too. So far, it's them, because they did not have BKB on the Broodmother. Now that they do have it, you see the smoke up instantly from EG.
All right, the power spike is there. They do have these spiders revealing. Okay, not enough to take down that ward, but they know Yang's around.
Okay.
Smoke's gonna break. All right, Tick Burn not gonna land. Does manage to blink away. Vici Gaming full retreat to their high ground, but Arteezy still pursuing. He is quite far away from the rest of his team, so he decides not to pursue any farther, but
I think Imp's Claw is really good on him with that Echo Saber, but it still doesn't make him strong enough to take down Wisp and Gyro. There is no way. He needs more. He needs more assistance.
His farm's slowing down a little bit just because he's looking for these fights so often, but isn't actually connecting anyone.
I think it's something that EG have been doing for a few days now. They just sack Arteezy completely. He's the one that's always up front, always trying to make moves. You could see it yesterday in that Void game as well. He would, the moment he had Chrono, he rotates on the enemy safely and tries to use it.
Still though, when Arteezy is able to focus on farming, Magnus is matched by very few carries in the game, the speed at which he's able to farm neutrals, and he is closing in on that BKB. So is Eurus on the Aghanim Scepter. Eurus top of the net worth chart right now.
I think maybe the BKB is a bigger power spike in this game, especially for EG. You will have BKB Brood, BKB Magnus, both empowered, hitting you. It should be good timing for them, but I expected a little bit more from this Brood early on, because he did stomp that lane quite heavily. I take that back, Gyro did farm a lot, but they did kill him quite a few times, and they took that tier 1 quite early on. I expected maybe for them to have some more offensive posture, aggressive, but they didn't really go into the dire jungle at all. It's been mostly Vici Gaming making moves.
I agree with you. It feels like Abed is a lot more focused on hitting his later game timings, where he turns into that right-click machine. Maybe with the Aghanim Scepter, he'll try and do that a little bit more aggressively. He is closing in on that.
I honestly don't think that scales too well versus the Gyrocopter. I think he's the stronger one overall. I think maybe they got too used to this role of Abed just farming and waiting his timings. Maybe he should have been a bit more active on the Broodmother. But versus Yang's Batrider, it's really difficult to do that. They can always fly over the trees, find you, lasso you, and finish you off.
Talking about active timings here, Fly. He's going to try and get a bit more active. We've seen him just doesn't really like the Meteor Hammer build that we've seen from some of the 4-position Treant Protectors. He likes the Aura items, or in this case, Blink. Nice initiation with the Blink.
He went for the Blink a couple of games before on Treant as well. He really likes that. The way he breaks up the fights is really good too.
Just going to wait for a BKB to be used, like on that Gyrocopter. See if he can counter it with his ultimate. Jump forward, crit is going to find DY here. A fresh tether is up, and he's going to be able to latch himself onto the Rubik in the back line. Arteezy thought he was getting a little bit close there, but got hit by a few orbs there from the Wisp. Unable to blink forward. Eurus going to be challenged. Pushed away. Neither team blowing a big cooldown here. But now, jump forward, bump line's gonna be able to get the Overgrowth to lead things off. Getting 2 heroes, but at the same time, the stolen Overgrowth. And now, a lasso onto Magnus, who's gonna be pulled over to the side. Skewer over, is gonna try and target DY immediately with the help of the Broodmother. Activates that RP onto 2, but Ori's not quite in it. He's trying to help get the damage onto Magnus. He needs a little bit more on top of the Nether Toxin. Eurus has survived through it all as well. Magnus, he still falls, and now it's up to Abed to try and finish off Eurus instead, but he can't do it. He's gonna try and TP away. A disaster for Evil Geniuses, as they thought they could get the gyrocopter. They thought they could focus him down, but no such luck.
Yeah, you go into the Wisp, Gyro Wisp with Essence Ring and Mech. You try to take him down. You do manage to do so, but he buybacks instantly, rejoins the fight, and Magnus just falls. Yang, that lasso wasn't necessarily that great. He catches the Magnus, but it only puts him in an even better position to use that RP. But it worked out really well for Vici Gaming. You could see that Crit had to use his Winter's Curse also really defensively on the bottom side. I like this play from Vi, but overall, all this teamfight gave them was an Aegis on the enemy side.
Yeah, you could see he went from about 25% HP to full up as the IO gave him all those heals.
On the bottom side as well, you can see the curse, but it just didn't help. Wisp, he also buybacks, relocates in, heals up Eurus. It's good for Abed that they didn't have any more disables to kill him off too.
While we were watching that, Vici Gaming did manage to take the Roshan PYW, telekinesis on the Magnus with the Chakram that he stole as well. Arteezy starts taking a lot of damage here and is going to be skewered backwards by PYW. Beautiful play into a lasso as well, just to ensure the kill. Back-to-back deaths for Artur.
Man, PYW, if he's not playing these tanky ETs, tinies, he plays a Rubik and he plays a mean one. That skewer wasn't only good because of repositioning, it was also good because he didn't have time to react to the missile, to the rocket. So he got stunned. Really, really well played.
Couldn't get off his BKB, and now Vici Gaming is up by 6K with an Aegis in hand. Plenty of items flowing in. They've got a Titan Sliver found for the gyrocopter. He almost has a butterfly.
You're playing versus anyone, you let Wisp go through, you lose to Wisp, you ban the Wisp next game.
It's looking like evil geniuses thought they had the answer to this pesky support, but
they're still
they willingly gave them the gyrocopter as well, Lizard. You pointed that out to me in the draft. They're saying, you can have it, we've got the counters, but EG.
They have the Wyvern and the Magnus, but Vici Gaming, they're not allowing them to use these big ultis properly. One of the main reasons is PYW with his Rubik. He's always ready and waiting to snatch that away from you. So you're not really as free at using these ults. Aghanims has been completed by Abed though, so that might allow them to rotate across the map a little bit faster. I think if you're EG, you should... Well,
gonna be grabbed here. Winter's Curse is up. That's why DY separates himself from Eurus, just in case.
One of the bad things about going for this early Orchid into Bloodthorn on Wyvern is the fact that if the game doesn't go great for you, you never finish it and you're not really useful.
Or a pair kit, that'll help stall things a bit, especially with the living armor of the tree.
I think maybe they should try and make some rotations on the Wisp and the Gyro somehow. But right now, the name of the game is probably delayed until Aegis has been reclaimed. Crimson Guard, remember the panel, they talked about Batrider. He doesn't necessarily have to be this Boots of Travel Blink 4 staff any longer. Well, in this game, he did it, but he also is going for some utility. He does have that Crimson queued up, which will help them quite a lot versus the Broodmother. Recently, Broodmother was built around the Spiderlings later on. You take the talents for Spiders.
RP on the 3, Arteezy! He found a huge opening into the Whirling Death, and they just wipe out 3 of them. Eurus is going to come back with his second life and his BKB, but can he actually get out? It's going to be Overgrowth locked in place and too much physical damage.
Well, they found them. They found them. That's what they needed to do. They needed to find Wisp and Gyro, and damn, this game just switched up super fast.
Just as it was looking a little grim for EG, just as it seemed like execution-wise, they couldn't find the openings on Vici Gaming. Artur, he sees Vici Gaming slip up just a little bit, the support group up.
No smoke, no invis, nothing. He was in full, I mean, it's nighttime, so they didn't have vision on him, and he had a really, really good ward there. Position 5 rock.
And now a Broodmother is free to push into a tier 3 tower. No buyback on the gyrocopter here. Thankfully, the Crimson Guard was finished up by aiming the perfect time. Winter's Curse immediately has lasso. He's going to be held in place here and trying to force staff him, and he does manage to get back. Ramses
He's so
He pulled
tanky.
in a little bit. He's still got Pipe. He's still got Timber Chain. He was just,
the curse?
stolen Curse. But he will have another Timber Chain, and I don't think they have another Interrupt. As the Flame Break still on cooldown. Ramsey's slowed down to a crawl here, but Timber Chain after Timber Chain should get him away. They have to relocate forward, but they thought he was actually going to go right. Ramsey's moving to the left side of the screen instead, puts himself out of distance to the Gyrocopter.
So they just wasted one more reload on top of everything that happened before. However, they didn't lose a tier 3, so that's really significant for them. They won't have that Brood constantly sending Spiderlings and just taking it down without putting in any effort.
Yeah. Yeah, that probably would have been a tier 3 down without that Crimson Guard, right?
Yeah.
Such a clutch timing there from Yang.
Also good pickup from the Rubik to steal that curse.
Yeah.
Prevented EG from stacking up and taking down the tower.
Evan's Halberd complete for the Timbersaw. That'll help against the Viper and Gyro, and the healing amplification is so good when you've got the full-out reactive armor stacks. Finally, we have our Orchid complete as well. So he was able to get that big power spike. We'll see how he uses it in these fights, because Yang, he certainly has seemed to found a support that he likes to pick on. Right? He blinks forward, kind of messes with the Winter Wyvern. He's by himself, so you don't feel good about cursing him.
Wyvern is possibly the best reactionary hero on the side of EG, besides the Treant. So if you manage to catch him, like he did.
There he is, grabs the Winter Wyvern, pulls him into Eurus. Eurus with all that magic damage quickly bursts him down. But what about Arteezy? What about Fly? Looks like they both are fast enough to stay ahead of the Gyrocopter.
Even though there is a telescope on crit, which allows him to just stand back and use his spells from distance, they can catch him. He doesn't have any mobility items, no blinks, glimmers to save him, so that's one of the downsides also of this Orchid rush. But Yang has been fantastic when it comes to getting on top of him and picking him off before the fight even starts.
Not a right-click build coming out from our Broodmother, even after the Aghanim Scepter. A Scythe is his next choice. So
He's going
all
for the
in on the
spiders.
spider damage,
Yeah, he's
no
going for
right-click of his own.
Yeah, he's going for the spider damage. I think that's why this Crimson on Batrider, we mentioned it before, that's why it's so significant. It's an amazing pickup by Yang. You don't really see it on Bat a lot. And after that last RP, can you really blame him for not wanting damage? They have the damage.
I would love to see how fast he was able to just take that tier 3 in a replay if we could, because that is one of the things so dangerous about a Broodmother is that even if you think you're winning fights and stuff, you have to be aware of that rat.
Once you get the talent on the spiders, it's just few seconds. They're hitting so hard. I feel bad for PY. Actually, I don't. He has a ghost. He's fine. He should be fine. Yeah. Telescope. You look at these items. He had Keen Optic first. Now he got the telescope as well. I mean, they're getting really, really good neutrals. Aetherland's telescope. Rubik, it's the best stuff that you can get.
Yeah, with a Blink Dagger and still that stolen Winter Wyvern's curse. This is why Vici Gaming want to go for a push out here. They're going to try and keep their Shrine alive because Roshan is going to be a bit of a focal point here.
Almost dead though. Like we mentioned earlier, the moment you take down the tier 3, Ramses.
Gonna happen eventually here, but they do manage to get the initiation on Ramses. Ramses, no save from his teammates just yet, but he is rather tanky, especially with that Nether Shawl. There's gonna be a Cold Embrace. Okay, they have the Winter's Curse on the Broodmother. They just wanted to use it before it faded away.
PYW, I think he was hoping on Spiderlings. He was hoping on the Spiderling damage, but Abed, he just didn't have any around him, luckily for him. Because those Spiderlings destroy the Broodmother. Extra attack speed and the talent, you would just die.
There's plenty of reasons to keep the Spiderlings away from himself against that flat cannon, but that's one more good reason to do so. Abed's micro is going to have to be really on point this game.
As long as he has Curse on Rubik, we shouldn't see that happen way too often though. Crit isn't really the kind of a player that gives away good spells.
Scythe is about to be complete for the Broodmother. Meanwhile, don't really have the biggest power spikes. Eurus just completing his Butterfly. Satanic's going to be up next for him, so he can just kind of plant himself on that front line. EG.
There you go. Site is completed. Instant smoke.
Ramsey's just kind of showing himself on the front lines, and the rest of the team is going to try and find an entrance into this high ground. They're going to be able to, with the Spider League, spot the two of them together. Can they actually bring down the IO in time? They do. The Skewer down into low ground as well. Eurus is going to be stuck. Bank EV activated. They do have the IO coming back in. Tethers up. Heals. Look at that. Eurus back to full health. York throw going out. Stolen by the Rubik. Is going to be able to keep these heroes in place, but a Winter's Curse intercepts. He does manage to get off the Ghost Scepter, though, so he's not taking too much damage and relocates them out of there. But Yang, he found his initiation onto the Brute Metal. Looks like Ori's able to do enough damage. Timber chaining on through everybody, but the Cold Embrace onto Arteezy has left him stuck, and Yang plants himself right in front of the charging Rhinoceros and brings him down. EG losing 3, Vici Gaming just a buyback for them.
What a team fight, man. EG, it looked so great for them, the way they set that up. The fact that they set the Spiderlings in to give them vision so that they can RP properly. And they were sending the Spiders all the time there. So VG, they got caught off guard there with the RP. They still managed to kill the Wisp though, but at what cost? They suffer heavily. And what's even worse for them, Roshan is up.
That is twice now that Evil Geniuses have lost a significant team fight off of DY having a buyback here. First was at that mid-tier 2, and here on the river you could see Eurus, once he pops at BKB, the full heal comes out from DY.
That looked so great. They use their spells really well, but it's just Wisp with Essence Ring. And this wasn't really the greatest because Gyro wasn't attacking him.
Yeah, I think he got off the Ghost Scepter in time on the IO.
Very unfortunate for EG, but it's Wisp right now. It's the way this hero works, and they counted on it. They counted on that buyback from the Wisp, and now not only does he have the Essence Ring and the mech, he also has a cheese to work with.
You saw Ori put out some serious damage, even though they brought Eurus out of that fight with a relocate. Ori is a significant factor as well. He ripped through that Brute Mother and did a lot of damage to the Timber Saw as well.
In that situation, I thought, all right, this might not go too poorly for EG because he relocated the Gyro out. I thought maybe that could have been a wrong decision, but it obviously wasn't because Ori is a beast of his own kind.
Still an overgrowth as well from PYW, significant factor. And now Vici Gaming up by 11K, having Aegis and Cheese. I'm presuming the Cheese is on the DY IO. Sure enough, there it is.
If you're EG right now, you must be feeling so demoralized after the heals from Wisp. Even after you take him down, he still just changes the concept of this game completely.
I like they give the Titan Sliver to DY for the status resistance, you know, so if he can wake up a little bit faster off the RP and activate his cheese before he goes down, that'll be a huge turnaround. Arteezy.
They have the repair kit, and they do have the Treant Protector, so taking down this tier 3 will be significantly harder than before.
And that's probably why Arteezy isn't around, right? He's saying, like, team, you just hold for a while.
They're not
I'm going to try, but Vici Gaming, they're going to commit here, almost finishing off the tier 3, and they do. Thanks in part to that double damage. EG don't want to fight into that DD, so they're trying to assault the mid lane, force Vici Gaming back. The melee racks, it may just die here. The Spiders to flame break backwards. A little bit more damage to the Spiders, but it's not going to happen. It's fresh round. Fresh round. The Faithful slowing them down, though, and they can't actually get it. The melee racks will have the chance to repair.
Yeah, PYW also has Splinter Blast, one of the best things to have at the moment versus the Brood Mother, and the Fate Bolt is really, really good versus Brood Mother, so.
Now they've got Chivos and the Bat Rider, so more AoE damage.
Maybe if he went for the range Raxes, if he didn't greed out, he'd definitely get them.
Yeah.
But he went for the melee and
sometimes greed does not pay. Abed.
This item might be really good for them. They're going for the Nullifier. So with that Nullifier, you will be able to just stop Wisp from using any of his items. The Essence Ring, the mech, but you still need to find him. You need to get on top of him.
Are there any Lotus Orbs on the side of Vici Gaming? Is there anything that they can do to help against that?
They don't have Lotus Orbs, no. It's only on Ramsey so far in this game, I believe.
Yeah, so that would be just a clean way. You get the right RP, 100%. Even if DY survives through the RP, you can't activate his items. They'll die pretty fast. Eurus, though. That is a bigger problem. Aeon Disc for DY soon.
That's really significant too. You can see that EG, maybe they're setting up a fight around this top outpost. They do have decent vision here, but let's see if they actually... Nah, Ramsey's... He has travels. So he can TP back in.
So Lizard, what can EG do a little bit better in these team fights? You can't just ask RTZ to get 3-4 man RPs all the time.
You need
right?
to. You need to ask him to do that.
It's entirely on him?
It's not. It's definitely not entirely on him. You need him to RP the Wisp and the Gyro because they're always stuck together.
Right.
If that happens, you need to follow up with the Broodmother and nullify the Wisp.
Okay.
I don't see any other way that they kill him. There is also Winter's Curse possible. So maybe the Bloodthorn later on from Winter Wyvern.
Yeah.
If you manage to Winter's Curse the Wisp and Bloodthorn him, perhaps the Gyro will be like enough to take him down.
Right.
But the game plan is so much easier for Vici Gaming. Put Gyro up front. Viper also has an amazing range right now and just hit from distance. Timeless Relic on Rubik. He's getting the best neutral items possible for this hero.
So is Telekinesis going to last a little bit longer? Any spells that he steals that slows or stun lasting longer as well? Meanwhile, Illusionist Cape, probably a little disappointing to RTZ. But he's going to try and make the best use of that illusion.
Maybe you can bait out something, perhaps. That's literally the best thing that you get from it. Maybe you can bait out Yang. Probably not going to happen. He won't just use that lasso, but there you go. They get it.
They're a little bit separated right now. They're going to try and go onto Eurus, pull him back with a shockwave. Meanwhile, Ramsey's trying to identify D-Way. The Aeon Disc has gone out and the Aegis has expired. The other side onto Eurus. Winter's Curse landing onto DY. They're going to try and focus him down, surrounding him real quickly. Tethers over the side. He still has that cheese as well as the Essence Ring. They're just not doing enough damage fast enough. They're trying to skewer and break. And once again, he tries to go off the RP. BKB activated instead, holding on to that RP. DY is still alive through all this one. Meanwhile, Ori's doing the damage. Finally, he dies. But for Eurus, he's still quite healthy. He's turning into the damage onto Magnus. Ramsey gonna fall as well. Evil geniuses are just getting wiped in the face of two heroes.
That's just, there's the 3 buyback. He can perhaps heal the towers, but you don't have anyone else. Wisp, he is still dead, so they don't have the Wisp. Broodmother could buy back together with the Timber Saw, but it's gonna be a really, really difficult defense for EG.
It certainly is. This repair kit is gonna have to put in overtime. Ramsey's gonna buy back. We'll see whether or not Abed holds on to his.
He wants to save gold for that nullifier. He understands that it's their win condition, but he's gonna have to buy back or they lose perhaps even all their sides here.
What a godly fight for DY.
What a godly Wisp, man. What are you talking about? They were trying to kill that Wisp for 30 seconds at least, and they couldn't. In the end, he does fall, but Broodmother dies at the same time.
I mean, they just completely run out of damage by the time they finally bring down DY. Nether Toxin.
Silences, that's huge too. The talents on Viper are one of the best, probably the things that he can go for. This silence is going to be really, really important. Timbersaw doesn't really have any ways of dealing with it too. He can't reposition himself.
Certainly going to be a pain in the ass. Evil geniuses are going to be left with one lane of barracks still standing as Vici Gaming retreat. They've got Roshan coming up soon, 2 lanes of barracks ahead, 26,000 net worth lead in this best of 3.
I respect this from EG. I respect the call not to buy back and try to brawl it out for one side. Being 2 sides down is strategically really bad for you. It makes the game much, much harder because you don't have ways of... You always have ways pushing in, which gives the enemy team a lot of info, and it's much harder for RTZ to just rotate and get some sick RPs because he's in vision most of the time.
Right.
However, I think it's important that you get Nullifier on the Broodmother, and maybe that can help you.
Vici Gaming has done an amazing job in spacing for these team fights. Never really out of position for big ultimates, but the Shadow Blade on a crit may find a better opportunity. Looks like Yang used the lasso on the Illusionist Cape, and this may be an opportunity for EG. Ramses get himself a little bit stuck, but that's a double damage Eurus. I don't know if EG wants to fight into that.
So they did manage to bait that lasso out, but they don't have any follow-up. They can't make anything work afterwards. That double damage
on the ground, gonna be picked up by Yang.
So they have to. All right.
Ramsey's still positioning himself out here. The spiders quickly wiped out. Ramsey's gonna be forced away here. Lotus Orb activated.
Crit.
Crit getting a little bit closer. He does have the Shadow Blade, but he won't get the chance to use it. Telekinesis catches him. Crit way out of position. Now Ramsey's going to be left alone. Arteezy to the rescue, but he can't do a damn thing. He'll one-man Arteezy. That's not going to do shit. Evil geniuses, they know they are completely outplayed in this game.
You don't ban the Wisp, you lose to a Wisp. We've seen it happen so many times in a row, and it happens once again. It happens once more.
Evil geniuses perhaps thinking with that game one, the nice control they had, that they could give Vici Gaming a little something. They thought maybe we can show that we can beat IO Gyro as a combination. They really gave it up in the second phase, but too many teams have fallen to that same hubris, and EG will fall to this game 2.
I think they played exceptionally well on the both sides. Maybe Broodmother could have been a little bit more active, but Vici Gaming, you saw them. You saw Yang and ROTK just battle it out recently. After the game. They were screaming over their teammates. They were discussing what went wrong, and I think they addressed it really well. Or they just picked Wisp. It's one or the other.
Yeah, well, we'll have to see whether or not they truly fix the problems as we head into game 3. Will we see a Ohio? We'll have to see after the break.